The following podcast is a part of RadioMisfits.com. And now it's time for the Mr. Nailsin Show. Well, for this episode of the Mr. Nailsin Show, all I've got is a Bugman story. Yes, that's what you get. But I would take this space to discuss some recent strange activities with the Spotify taking down the show. The claims were copyrighted material, music being used in the show, went against the terms because it's copyright infringement, that sort of thing. And so, said, hey, we'll take it down. This was an automated system, probably AI, I assume, used to seek out signatures for, material like that. Well, it turns out it's all about Kevin MacLeod. Kevin MacLeod put it on his own site, back in April already. And he said, somehow podcasts on Spotify are being pulled due to my music. I did not start any of this. And we are working to try and get everything reinstated. We moved distributors to Frequency Digital. You may have received a notification from them. It says Kelvin Rutgers T/as frequency. Yeah. I don't recall getting that. But anyway, on Spotify, you can dispute this fairly easily. When contesting the claim under I have a license, select Kelvin Rutgers T/as frequency as the licensor. Frequency will then list any tracks that Spotify is flagging. My tracks are royalty free and you have permission to use them in your podcast. We don't know why this started happening about 18 months ago. Wow. Spotify has a section devoted to podcasting and their rules, or he gives a link to the rules. If after you dispute these claims, you're still having an issue with your podcast or issues, please reach out to Frequency Digital at support at frequencydigital.com. We are still working to list all my music by default, but that is not currently the case, which is the problem. It should be set that way. Kevin MacLeod's music has been royalty free from the get-go. He asked that you credit him, but even if you don't, you can still use it. Now, I do, especially at the end of Night, put it in there. At the bulk of the music used there is his. That I put in there. The theme song to the Mr. Nailsin Show is a song he composed called Mistake the Getaway. And I took pieces of that to be the intro and the outro of the show. That one I went forward and bought a license to. So I can use it. So it's the Nailsin theme song, Of course, someone else could use it too. Even if they don't buy the license. So, anyway, it asked, when you submit a complaint about it for Frequency is to include your podcast URL and any screenshots of the problems you are facing on the Spotify platform. So it seems to be isolated to Spotify. As for where the show goes, apparently there's no problem with the other outlets. YouTube, there's a lot of this on there. There's an awful lot of music you can use on YouTube that YouTube itself allows. With Kevin, it's for the most part been fine. Every now and then there'll be a claim on, and really I can only think of one at the moment. And I remember the name of it is called The Stratosphere. And it's a song he did. And I've used it. I've used it in Night and sometimes in a YouTube video, it might be, music I'll use to in the video. Well, it gets claimed. It's not a strike, but it is a claim. And the claim goes to some other guy. I'm forgetting the guy's name. But but it's not his, it's Kevin's. So I'm thinking there's shenanigans there. But for Spotify, it appears to be their automated, guard dog against copyright infringement that is responding to this shift and this move to Frequency Digital. So that's the distributor for Kevin MacLeod's music, and that appears to be how that happened. So a lot of it, like for Kevin MacLeod, is and it's true of the theme song where I cut it up and I use pieces of it. A lot of times there's quite a few little snippets and segments within pieces that he wrote that act as background music for Night Night and stuff like that. So even that would probably, because it's the way the system works. Even though it's not the entire song or whatever, but they'll claim it's copyright infringement, even though the artist has long since made them royalty free. So, it's a headache a bit. Hopefully it's resolved and the shows are restored, but I can't think of too many shows that, because if it's counting, it might just be the theme song. And I'll have to go through my files maybe and say, look, but then, I'm using his music in a lot of stuff, and there's just no way I can go back. I got to redo this or that. No. If this was never resolved, it means, well, no Nailsin show on Spotify, I guess. But anyway, that appears to be the deal, especially since Kevin MacLeod himself has responded to it. So I guess that explains it. So there we go. That's what I got. And hopefully it gets resolved. For this particular episode, a second episode in this new Bugman series. Of course, Bugman is an alternate version of Night Night. I eventually went with Night Night as the main character of a Batman parody. Bugman is only slightly different, but he's obviously the same character. Instead of Buvo, he has Critter and all that. We gave him some amount of superpowers and stuff like that. But the jumping off point is that I just went back to the old original Batman comics and don't follow them exactly, but it gives me an idea of what to do, and then I go from there. And that's kind of what I'm doing here. It's an old Joker story, but here I decided to go with the Exterminator, which, he's Bugman, and the Exterminator's coming for him, So, like this would be his main arch villain. Even though I redid the origin of Pink Elephant in the Bugman story, probably leaning towards just keeping Pink Elephant in the Night Night world. So that's the deal with this story. It was a story where the Joker was poisoning people, and extorting them for whatever. Mostly they all own these valuable jewels. So that part of it is still very much there. But I, of course, expand on it and whatnot. And it doesn't go quite, the way that, it goes in Batman, since, Bugman is nowhere near as heroic as Batman. So anyway, it kind of gives a break after spending so much time on that, Bewitcher story, which, looking at it now, I should have made that an ASS, American Super Society adventure, rather than a split between Night Night and Sun King. Oops. Oh, well. Yeah. But the whole thing of that was a parody of the comic book event thing, which really goes all the way back to the 80s with Secret Wars, and then with Marvel, and then DC did Crisis on Infinite Earths. And those were big deals at the time. And also they were a bit rare. Every now and then there was a sequel to Secret Wars, and that sort of thing. Eventually they did other stuff, but they get in the 90s, Marvel does Infinity War and stuff like that. Due to the damage, I say damage. I mean, the Crisis on Infinite Earths was, it was a cool story, but it did a lot of damage to continuity for the DC. And then they spent even up to now trying to fix it. So they followed that up with 0 Hour and so on. But the idea of the crossover of all the characters within the comic book line, just became a regular thing to where now it's every 5 minutes that they do one. It just never ends. And it, really chokes it off. And ultimately you end up with a bunch of people standing around talking, and then a big thing happens, and then it unhappens, and they go back for 5 minutes to their own stories, and then there's the next ordeal. Oftentimes as a result of the previous one, so they never really fix anything. And so that's essentially what I did. So it drags on. And well, not a whole lot happened. I mean, Whizbang came back from the dead. So I guess that's the thing. And then tease, there's things there that only I know. But nevertheless, we'll revisit that in a later story. But I guess it made its point. I don't know. And a lot of times, there's an outline and an idea of what happens and who's who and all that. And I knew who the Bewitcher was and all that. But ultimately, it's a make it up as you go along affair. And, oh boy, so eventually I got to the point where, all right, Night will be 12 chapters and Sun King will be 15. Now the numbers of those, corresponds with the typical, chapters of old movie serials. So a lot of them were 12 chapters and some ran 15. So I'm sure there's a few that maybe ran only 8 or something like that, but it seems like it was almost standard that those were the choices of the amount of episodes they would do for those. And so that was, the thinking there. So once I hit that number, I was like, all right, I got to end it. It's just, hey, Sun King, fly in there and shoot him with your sun belt. So, okay, problem solved. So anyway, so taking a little break before I get back to, what was that deal with Baron Void and Bubba Stargone? Well, yeah, gotta figure that one out too. So anyway, I'll leave you to Bugman, and we'll visit again in the next episode of the Mr. Nailsin Show. And of course, you can find me on YouTube at Nailsin Ratings and all that stuff. So anyway, have a great weekend, and we'll visit again soon.
You're listening to the Mr. Nailsin Show here on RadioMisfits.com.
A new embodiment of evil now stalks the city of Gothic City, leaving behind bodies in his wake, known as the Exterminator. Police have begun a massive search, but so far to no avail. Meanwhile, another organization is taking an interest into this mysterious Exterminator, the organization known as the Mob. We find a particular gang meeting together at a small, out-of-the-way, nearly incognito bar known as the Sore Toe. Yeah, I tell you, boss, this Exterminator guy, he's bad for business. He's muscling in on our territory. Yeah, we was gonna make a move on the asshole diamond, and then he comes in and takes it away. That's the Astro Diamond, dumbass. That's what
Well, whatever. And then to make matters worse, he takes away the teardrop rubber. And that's just, he's crossing the line. It's the teardrop ruby, you idiot. God, no wonder he's beating us at our own game. You can't even say what they were. Up yours, Smiley.
Gentlemen, let's not get carried away with the little details. The point is made that it's true. This exterminator's going to have to be dealt with.
Well, nobody knows who he is, let alone where he could possibly be hiding out at.
That's true, Smoke, which is why when you can't go and get him, you bring him to you. So I want you all to put the word out that I'm calling out the exterminator. Saying I say he's a coward, he's no good, and a real pussy. And then I'm gonna exterminate him when I catch up to him. Yeah, put that out there. And also, he knows where to find me.
Yeah, but boss, if he comes to your place, he's liable to kill you with that weird poison he's using.
That's why I'm gonna turn my place into a fortress, and every one of my boys will be armed to the teeth. As soon as that asshole shows his bony face, yeah, we're gonna exterminate him like I said I would, with lead poisoning.
Yeah, lead poisoning.
Oh, yeah. And so a week passes, and word of Boss Smuggley's plan reaches even the ears of Bob Finger, who is, in reality, Bugman.
Once again, Critter, it appears that fortune can suddenly fall into one's lap. And so all we have to do is stake out Boss Smuggley's house and kill two birds with one stone.
Huh. Well, I didn't know Boss Smuggley collected birds.
Bird? No, you idiot! He's been putting it out there that he wants to challenge the exterminator, questioning his manhood and honor. Not that there's any honor in these dishonorable creeps, but they do have a sick sense of it nevertheless. And so eventually the exterminator himself will not be able to resist this challenge. And so, as we stake out Boss Smuggley's home, we can pick up all kinds of evidence on his criminal activities. And when the exterminator does arrive, we can take him out as well, thus ending two forces of evil.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Yeah, we've known Boss Smuggley was a criminal all this time and never could get all the evidence. We probably should have been spying on him all this time anyways.
Well, look, I'm a busy man. I've got all these other cases to work on, and I've got a business to run and a whole life. And I get to it now. That's what's important.
And soon at the house of one Boss Smuggley.
Jeez Louise, maybe I was right about the exterminator being a pussy. I mean, it's been a week since I let out my challenge, and we haven't heard a peep out of him.
Well, it's always nice to know someone's thinking about
you. The exterminator.
Hello, Smuggley. Not so smug now, are you? Suddenly, every door in the room burst open with several gunmen with their guns pointed at the exterminator. Whoops. I didn't know you had company, Smuggley. I'll come back in a better time.
Let him have it, boys.
Suddenly, the entire room explodes and machine gun fire all directed at the figure of the exterminator. And yet...
Damn, boss, we shot him full of so many holes he disappeared.
No, wait a minute. Something ain't right. We shot up the window behind him, and then he just, disappeared.
Holy crap, he was using some sort of, holographic projection. Search the house! God damn it, Critter, watch where you're going.
I'm sorry, but the gunfire scared me. What the hell? There's someone upstairs.
Don't just stand there, light him up. Oh, damn it. Gotta use a bug bomb.
Oh, No, it's gas.
Don't gas. I gotta get out of here. I gotta head to the back room. It's probably that toxin that the Exterminator uses. It's too bad about the boys, but I gotta worry about myself now.
Well, it's only fitting, Smugly, as that's all you've ever cared about.
What?
Yourself.
Oh, no. Exterminator.
That's my name, Smugly, and it's what I do. Here, let me demonstrate on you.
Smugly pooted.
Who the devil?
Bugman and Critter.
So, at long last, we meet. With all this on display, I must conclude that you are the Exterminator.
Oh, we've met before, Bugman. And I should thank you for saving me the trouble of tracking you down. And now, I will finally exterminate you.
Oh no! It's gonna turn us into
What? Don't shit.
Damn it! The gun's jammed, it won't work.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I bet my gun will work. What? No!
Whoa! He fell out the window.
Yes, Critter. A thankfully short, if not deadly, career ending for the Exterminator.
He's running away with the tail between his legs, trying to get into that hearse.
What? That must be his getaway car. Of course it's a hearse. Damn it, Critter, we gotta stop him before he gets away.
Oh yeah, I can get over there lickety split.
Huh? What the hell? He teleported. I don't see him showing up anywhere. I gotta get out there.
Fortunately, my exosuit took the brunt of the fall. Now to get into my deathmobile, What the hell?
Stop it right there, bonehead.
Oh, Bugman's a little idiot. Where the hell did you come from?
From Smuggler's house, stupid.
Well, whatever, now get out of the way before I exterminate you.
You can't do nothing. Your gun don't work.
Are you so sure? Perhaps the fall jerked it back into place and it's no longer jammed. Let's see if it works.
Huh?
What the hell? He disappeared again. I'll have to figure that out later, I guess.
Stop it! Stop it! Right there! Exterminator!
Oh, damn it, it's Bugman. I don't have time to deal with him. I've got to go.
And soon climbs into his souped-up hearse and makes good his getaway. But at the last second, Bugman is able to attach himself to the surface of the car, utilizing his bug-like ability to adhere to any surface. In response to this, the Exterminator weaves and twists and zigs and zags all throughout traffic in an attempt to shake Bugman loose, but to no avail, because again, of Bugman's bug-like ability to stick to the car as if he was a part of it. So, Exterminator resorts to shooting up the car, at Bugman through the roof, but Bugman's able to dodge most of it, and since the car is heavily shielded, he can't really shoot through all of the shielding, so that really doesn't work. And after that, he forgets to notice the railing of the bridge and smashes right through it and dives into the sea below. Once the bubbles settle, all is quiet. Could this be the end of both the Exterminator and Bugman? Find out in the next exciting episode of Bugman.
Bugman was written, produced, and performed by me, Douglas Nailsin. Music came courtesy of Kevin MacLeod and other public domain sources. The views and opinions expressed during the Mr. Nailsin show do not necessarily reflect those held by RadioMisfits.com. So, any complaints and or comments should be sent to @Mr. Nailsin on Twitter, where they will be promptly ignored and or blocked.
Ew! Nasty!
It's not what it looks like.